Sometimes we forget why we're here. It's easy to fall off track. These help us remember.
These battle scars don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battles.
Growing up I had a dream, something no one else could see. Tell me what it means when your faith is falling beneath your knees and you can't breathe. Everything you see reminds you of what you're not or something you won't be. You gotta take what you're given, that's how we live it. Don't be mad at the system, it's simply how we've existed. I hear a lot of people talking like they politicians and choose to be an accountant because it's safe in a business. Not because they wanna do it, just because they heard it pays. And who the fuck wants to be poor knowing that's how we've been raised? Society is getting heavy, I can feel the weight. The pressure of success is like 100 million pounds of shame. And that's the reason I'm staying up late, trying to find a way to escape the stereotypes this day and age is making me feel like the only way I'll be happy is getting signed to a label and making money through rapping. I wanna share my emotion because this world is attacking the very principle of life that lets the people be happy. If you don't have a reason to breathe, why even live? These battle scars are impressions of everything that it is.
Don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battle scars don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battles.
If I had a voice that reached 100 million people, I'd tell them there's a reason that we're all created equal. Cause some decide to be great and some decide a sequel to an average person's life is simply what they want to be. So you make your decision, all I know is what I'm given. Won't define the life I lead or the way I dwell in existence. I've seen a greater image on the walls of where I'm living, and the words twisted and scripted remind me of something written. Faith is a gift that is given down to the people. If one believes it, one receives it. It's given if it is needed. Don't ever think you're trapped in a life that you never wanted. Your options are infinite, that's some mathematical logic. I'm not saying I'm a prophet, I'm speaking for what it's worth. These lyrics define my prayers and these battle scars on my church. Not saying I'm a prophet, I'm speaking for what it's worth. These lyrics define my prayers, these battle scars on my church.
Don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battle scars don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change.
Well, hello everyone. Ooh, my Statue of Liberty. Mike Seebeck gave me this little like Lego Statue of Liberty and she keeps falling apart. I broke Liberty. Oh no. Okay, let me just pick up the pieces of Liberty and I'll put her back together later. Somehow this just seems like some kind of allegory for our country. Oh, I need to put up the chat widget. And that means I need to scoot up. Perfect. Look at this crowded screen. Hello there. Oh, thank you so much, Philip424. I super appreciate it. Well, I hope you all are doing well. I've had a busy day. I've been non-stop. It is an allegory for our party. This is driving me crazy now, though. I really did. I broke Liberty. And there's a piece I can't figure out where it came from. How is that? I ended up with an extra piece that I don't know where it goes. Oh, is this the book? Is this the little book she's supposed to be holding? Hold on. I think this is her. Hold on. I gotta put Liberty back together. Hello, JJ. Well, while I'm putting. Yes, that's her little book. Okay. While I'm putting Liberty back together, please, I gotta be a good YouTuber. I never say this. Please subscribe to the channel or follow on Twitch or whatever you're watching. I would really appreciate it. And no, Justin, I have not yet seen the Defend the Guard video. I'll need to, maybe you send me a link. I still haven't reviewed the Substack, what's it called again? I still haven't reviewed the stuff that you've sent me. I have been so crazy busy. I literally, well, like maybe 15, 20 minutes. Well, a little while ago, I just got off a training with one of our new historical committee members, which I said, why isn't my grifting showing up? There we go. I need a much busier screen. I did some historical training this evening. Hopefully we're going to be getting up some newsletters. We found some more issues of the Libertarian Vanguard. Hey, Samuel! You knew I was talking about him. His ears were itching. So, yeah, Samuel is going to be one of my heroes. He's taking one of the file folders that... Okay, Samuel has seen something I don't let very many people see. And no, this isn't Cult of R, so this is not going to get dirty. I let him see my desktop and my downloads folder, and I'm surprised he didn't run away shrieking, because oh my god, it's bad. It's really bad. But let's get started on today's episode, because I've got more stuff to do with this, and JJ, you'll be interested. I'm actually getting back to doing the new RP exam because I paid for that bitch. I'm gonna take it. I'm going to take that exam, even though I already have my RP. I am taking that exam, so I got to go back to that tonight. And I've decided for some reason that I want to learn the new Photoshop. Well, it's not new to me. Okay, when I say new, I've got Photoshop on this MacBook Air, and it's not even full Photoshop. It's Photoshop Express or Elements or whatever the hell they call it. Because that was fine. That's all you need to do thumbnails. But this MacBook Air is so old and has so little memory, I can't update. I can't even install Word on it. Like, Word's not compatible with the operating system. So I'm like, oh my god, I'm going to lose Photoshop any day now, and then I won't be able to do my YouTube thumbnail. So I bit the bullet. I'm trying to learn, like, the actual, real, full Photoshop. And I found this 30 Days of Photoshop. This guy's really cute, too. Like the way he teaches. I don't mean cute as in good looking. Like, he's a good looking guy, but I mean cute as in adorable. So hopefully after a month I'll know the full Photoshop, but it's taken me a half-hour a day to do that. Anyway, we are on August 1974, and we've got to get through August before August runs out so that we can go to the next one. So we did this first page. And we did the second page, but what we haven't done on the second page, so we're just going to start going through what we haven't covered. And Dave Davis, that's my little buddy. That's my little buddy in the lower left. He's been with me for over a decade now. You know who we need to get in here? Joel, what's his last name? He does the Taxation is Theft Back. And he's from California. He'll remember my little buddy. And Justin wants to... I already know Photoshop mostly, so I don't want to learn a new program. And I already need Adobe Creative Suite for other things, for my job and for the party. So I already have it. I don't want to learn something else. I actually like Photoshop, so I just got to learn the full version rather than Elements. And believe it or not, Elements is pretty damn powerful. Like, you can do almost anything. It's just that I have an old version that I know is gonna poop out. So I really appreciate the suggestion, but I think I'm gonna be good, because it'll take me 30 days to learn Canva anyway. So I'm just good with learning Photoshop. The full version. All right. What am I looking for? Oh, this is what I'm looking for. Okay. This isn't the page we want, though. Dave, the creature is whatever you should want it to be. I need him here, though. I don't have my little buddy here. See, that little buddy... let me see if I can add him quickly. I'm not sure where I saved him on my desktop. He's probably under Pink Flame of Liberty Assets. So show assets, no. I don't even know what he's called. I think he's called running thing. So is it overlays? Where is he? I don't even know what he's called or where he's at. Running thing. Here he is. Okay. He's going to be here with us too. What actually that thing is, I've mentioned it before, but why he makes me just, he makes me smile because that's me. That's the look on my face when I'm reading Andy Craig or anyone very similar. You got to look at that face. That's me. That's me listening to the neoliberal podcast. You're my little buddy. Okay, so what is it that we wanted to do now? Oh. Post-Nixon politics. That's what we're covering today. All right, and this is from David F. Nolan. And we did not cover this before. And look, down here at the bottom, I just love that logo down at the lower corner there, the lower left-hand corner of the page. That logo is so 1970s that I just want to put on a white polyester suit and go. That logo. I wish I could find a font that would do that. It's incredible. The LP News logo is just incredible. You know what? We should make a retro shirt or something with that on it. Man, I need to get some designer. I need to make, I just love it. Okay, I'm gonna stop gushing over the logo, which oh my God. I need to bring down a magnifying glass. Look, I'm like grandma. I can't read the tiny print on my, you can see, look on the screen. Look at, you guys can't read that either on the screen. I don't care how young you are. That is some tiny ass print. All right, well, let's go. And remember, all super chats matter. Oh, I meant to bring another computer to put Twitch up here because there's interactions I could do with Twitch that I can't do in my program. Next time, I'm going to have a laptop here. It's going to be all high tech up in this bitch. Okay. And so, after 2 years of breastfeeding, I don't know. And public recrimination on all sides, the impossible happened. An American president was forced out of office, not merely discouraged from seeking re-election, a la LBJ, but actually forced to step down. And not just any president either. The man expelled from power had pursued that power with an intensity and single-mindedness rarely, if ever, before witnessed in American history. There is an ironic justice of sorts that the first man ever to become an unpresident, isn't that what Adam Kokesh was running to be unpresident? I don't think he meant it in this way. As simply an ex-president. Oh, does it undo his presidency? That doesn't... was he really made an unpresident rather than an ex? What am I missing here? That doesn't make sense. Where's my... Why isn't Make It Make Sense not working? I need to fix that. Yeah, that doesn't make sense. Is the man for whom being president was the major reason for living... It couldn't have happened, as they say, to a nicer guy. Yeah, JJ, I don't think he was an unpresident. Because that would be like voiding his election, right? So like what the LNC tried to do to me didn't make me an unsecretary. Though they would have loved to have done that. They really tried to unperson me. They tried to make me an ex-secretary. But I was never an unsecretary. Though that sounds kind of badass, doesn't it? Okay. In all fairness, however, It should be observed that while Richard Nixon richly deserved his unique fate, he was by no means the only president who deserved that fate. His immediate predecessor was almost certainly equally impeachable and might well have had to face that eventuality had he been confronted with an opposition party-dominated Congress. Too bad he wasn't. It would have been fun watching old welfare warfare Linton go down in flames. Now here's the thing. I think nearly every president has been impeachable. But usually the things they go after them for aren't what they deserve to get impeached for. Like, hell yeah, I thought Trump should have been impeached. But not for what they were going after him for. And at the time, I've told this story before, this is prior to our nomination in 2022, the only one of the candidates that had the balls to say that was Joe Jorgensen. That's when I started really, really liking Joe Jorgensen, because in Florida, somebody got up, I think it was in Florida during the candidate Q&A, should, President Trump be impeached? And it was like red meat. Everyone was hooting and hollering, and all the other candidates were saying yes, and Joe Jorgensen said no. And then she goes, well, let me qualify. Yes, but not for the, charges that are against him now. And I really, really respected that she did that, because that is not what the crowd wanted to hear. And I respect people who are willing to stand up and say the unpopular thing in whatever crowd they happen to be with. And I think I proved that. Well, it was popular with some people, what I did, but not with the ones who had alleged power over me. Alrighty. Fall from grace. Oh, by the way, there's a little, I'm probably going to do it on TikTok because it's going to be short little things. There's a little short Liz Cheney thing I need to do and a short Mike Pence thing I need to do. But I'm probably going to do that on TikTok. But to turn to the present, the facts are that Milhouse was the first. Hopefully there will be others. And his fall from grace has many ramifications. Some will become known only with the passage of time. Ooh, I didn't turn off my heater. I'm sorry if you heard that in the background. Probably made me talk really loud too. Others can be guessed at even now, and herewith are some guesses. The most immediate result of Nixon's departure, of course, is the presidency of Gerald Ford. And while the two men are almost diametric opposites stylistically, Nixon was a megalomaniac while Ford verges on humble, there is little, if any, ideological difference between the two. Ford, after all, was Nixon's hand-picked successor. Ford's Royce rating for the first half of 1973, and I did write Eric Scott Royce, Samuel. I haven't heard back from him yet, but I asked him to get with me that I wanted to set up a time to talk with him about the 1974 convention. Ford's Royce rating for the first half of 73 was an average, i.e. bad, 36. His second half score, had he finished out the year, would have probably have been lower, judging from his performance through November. From a libertarian viewpoint, he would not be a lot better than Nixon. He gains a few points for his relatively greater opposition to welfare spending, but loses them back because of his militarism. In some, Ford is perhaps a half notch to the right of Nixon, but in the same plane. And then subtitle, Improvements. Nonetheless, having Ford as president will probably bring some slight improvements over the Nixon regime. By virtue of his situation, Ford will be too weak to embark on any grandiose schemes of his own, as Nixon would, and there's a typo, spell check didn't exist then, would have loved to do following his mandate in 1972. On the other hand, Ford will probably be able to use the veto power and have his veto stick if Congress gets too carried away, and it may well next year. Nixon, in contrast, had effectively lost his veto power. In sum, with a non-elected president in the White House, we are likely to see a more balanced relationship between executive and legislative power than we have seen in decades. The march toward executive despotism has been temporarily halted, perhaps even set back a step or two. Indeed, the power of the capital V, capital S state as a whole has been dealt somewhat of a blow. although we should not disillusion ourselves that this is a more temporary respite. Dread Ted. Oh, and you want to hear small world? One of my coworkers, the guy who sits next to me, another paralegal, was it father-in-law? His father-in-law is the partner of the law firm that helped me sue the state of Colorado and win for the right to take a ballot selfie. And I told him the story of, the attorney who was representing me when he was prepping me. And he's like, Colorado's going to come at you with the whole purpose of this law is so that people don't sell their votes. And y'all remember who've heard this before. I looked right at him. I said, well, I'm a libertarian. I don't really care if people sell their votes. And he looks at me and goes, please don't say that in court. Fortunately, the question did not come up. I think he was sweating that. He was like, oh my God, I got a live one here. Oh boy. Still another benefit of Tricky Dick's fall from grace is that there is now some hope that the reign of Dread Ted may well be postponed for 4 years. He's speaking of Ted Kennedy. If Ford does a fairly good job of pleasing the public between now and November 1976, he has a good chance of being elected to a term of his own. Oh no, yeah, that's what it says. That just reminded me of a League of Her Own. They're remaking that. Why would they remake that? The original was so good. Why would they remake that? They're probably going to make it all woke as hell too, and it's just going to make me want to... I love the original. And given the unpredictability of the world these days, perhaps forever. There are other political implications to this thing, however. One is that the Republican Party has been given at least a temporary new lease on life. The GOP was in very, very deep trouble prior to Nixon's resignation. Now there is a measurable chance that the GOP may not fare too badly in this year's elections. Undoubtedly, the Republicans are still far worse off than they were before the beginning of the whole Nixon-Agnew, remember him? Scandal of 1973 through 74. But they're not nearly as badly off as they would have been with Nixon still in office and going through impeachment this fall. The GOP's gain is not necessarily our loss, however. Okay. All right. First, I didn't understand what he was trying to say here. More lesbian. What the hell are you talking about, JJ?
That's what she said.
Okay, more lesbian. Oh. Okay, you gotta understand that my thoughts had completely moved on. I look up and I just see more lesbian. And then I'm thinking, is that like more cowbell? My only question is, are they hot? If they're hot, I'm down for it. Okay. Where was I at? I got so distracted by that. In addition, I think this whole debacle has caused a lot of people to become dissatisfied with both major parties to a previously unprecedented degree, and I honestly believe we're going to see increasing numbers of third-party and independent candidates elected to office in the next few years. In fact, I now think there's a slim chance that one or more of our congressional candidates might actually win this November. God, we are so delusional. But I'm that way come every election. I'm like, we're going to win. Oh, hope springs eternal. And I think I've got a hole in the bottom of this glass because I'm running out of wine. Perhaps most importantly, however, I think the events of the past year or two have made the American people much more receptive to proposals for limiting the power of government and changing the way in which we choose our political representatives. Specifically, I believe the time is now ripe for us to push for 2 important constitutional amendments which could greatly aid our cause, that of limiting government power. 1, rotation in office. What is this? Oh, is this term limits? Okay, first, I think there's a good chance the American people would be receptive at this point in time to the idea of limiting presidents to 1 term in office. I don't think they would ever be receptive to that, and I don't think they would have been receptive to that then either. But this next sentence is a very interesting idea. Perhaps a 6-year term. Now I think that dog could hunt. They might even go for the idea of limiting senators and congressmen to a set number of terms as well. Second, I believe the time is also ripe to push for an amendment to change our electoral system. I am currently working on a proposal which, when refined, will be sent to all members of the next Congress to eliminate the cumbersome system of state primaries we now have. What? I don't like this idea. And substitute a nationwide 3-stage election system? An open, nonpartisan primary in June with the... No, David. No, David. Bad David. With the top 4 runners to go into a secondary election in September and the top 2 from that election to face off in November. Bad. No. Thanks. I hate it. Thanks. I hate it. Due to space limitations, I cannot go into details on this proposal here. I invite all interested readers to write me for more information and blah, 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 blah. No. I know I'm saying this, yelling this back in time, and the man's even dead, and I'm chastising him. Okay. I can't remember what we've covered now, because I've been hopping back and forth so much in this damn issue. So that was pages 1 and 2. What happened to pages 3 and 4? Okay, here's pages 3 and 4. Okay. One more thing we're going to cover. I found something to cover. So Dave Davis says they tried to push for one 6-year term when Carter was president. It didn't get any traction. It might get traction now, though. I mean, everything's up for grabs, I think, now. So one other article before we're done for tonight. I'm trying to make these shows a little bit shorter, even though we still got a ton. This was such a jam-packed LP News with this tiny-ass print. Woo! Okay. Legal gold, no-knock victories. That's what I want to read. I have no idea what it's about. I see no-knock, and I'm thinking of like no-knock warrants and things like that, but we'll see. Oh, and by the way, I got all my signatures this weekend. It wasn't many, you know. It was just neighbors. I only needed to get 25 valid. I got 34. Somebody messed up one line. I was going to get 35. So Wayne's going to go. I got it notarized today. Wayne's going to go bring it down to City Hall tomorrow. Or Town Hall or whatever the hell they call it. All right. Oh, this is from Eric Scott Royce. Legal gold, no-knock victories. Strangely enough, there is some good news from Congress. God, I love libertarians. Which can be reported. First, it has passed a rider to the International Development Association authorization, unfortunately. Legislation allowing private citizens to own gold. Allowing. Kiss my libertarian ass. As of December 31st, 1974. The IDA bill also contained a useful provision instructing the U.S. governor there to vote against loans to nations developing nuclear explosive devices unless those nations were signatories to the Non-Proliferation Treaty. Second, both houses of Congress have now passed legislation to repeal the federal no-knock law. Senator Irwin, leading the fight for repeal in the Senate, noted that, quote, we ought not to sacrifice on the altar of doubt and fear what is the proud boast of our law, that every man's home is his castle. That's a really good quote. He continued, quote, the Bill of Rights applies to everyone, even drug peddlers. If our standard is going to be that if a constitutional guarantee serves to protect criminals, we are going to be free to disregard it, then we are in trouble, end quote. Just that one was an awkward sentence, but I get what he's trying to say. With Irwin and Senator Charles Percy, Republican Illinois, leading the charge, the Senate overcame opposition from the likes of Senator Roman Hruska, Republican Nebraska, and voted 64-31 to repeal the federal and D.C. statutes. The House repeal motion, accepted by voice vote during routine debate, only repealed the federal law, however. The difference will have to be ironed out in conference, but it is safe to predict that the federal no-knock law passed during the GOP's crime hysteria period in 1970 looks dead at last. The Senate has twice firmly resisted attempts to invoke cloture. That's an interesting word. Ooh, that's a parliamentary word if I have ever seen one. I want to look up the... JJ, I've never seen you use this word. We need to bring this word back. Okay, I got shit in the way on my desk. Let's see what this says. What does it mean? A procedure for ending debate and taking a vote. And how do you pronounce it? Cloture? Cloture. It's used in the Senate only. Well, I'm bringing it to the LNC, baby. Oh, don't let me forget. Don't let me forget. I want to move to cloture. Oh, God. I remember that big debate I got into over some minutes of mine. Was it like 4 years ago? Where we were arguing whether or not Germanity is a word. It's a word, damn it. On the bill to create a consumer protection agency, a piece of legislation that columnist James Jackson Kilpatrick calls the worst of the year. The bill would create a vast new bureaucracy to harass businessmen before other federal agencies and in the courts. The House has already passed a similar bill, and only a filibuster led by Senators Irwin, William Scott, Republican Virginia, and James Allen, Democrat Alabama, is protecting us from this new bureaucratic monster. Cloy is in toy, turtle, cloyter. On dictionary.com, it said cha instead of ta. Let me look that up again. It said cloiture, like with church. Let me show you. Yeah, it has it, well, let's see. I don't know if you guys will be able to hear this. It has the pronunciation.
Cloture.
Cloture. Yeah, here, let's hear that again.
Cloture. Cloture.
Yeah, you guys can't hear that because that's not coming through. Cloture. Okay. I like that word. I need to not forget it, though. When I'm getting old, I forget words if I don't see them over and over and over and over and over. On July 30th, the House killed 221-181 on a motion by Representative Chalmers Wiley, what a name, Republican, Ohio. The conference report on a bill to provide massive amounts of funds for when mass transit subsidies the bill would have authorized $800 million for fiscal 1975 alone to states and localities. Yeah, incorporate. I've got that. Now I need cloture. Like it. I like it a lot. Turning to the negative side of things, the House gave the country a real example of the cause of inflation when it passed a concurrent resolution on July 31st calling for a 6-month study of the subject. I wonder how much that cost. by the Joint Economic Committee. More taxpayers' money down the drain. Also, on the spending front, a number of senators have recently been attempting to trim appropriations to various government agencies. Little progress has been made, however. For instance, one such motion by Senator Bob Dole, Republican Kansas, a leader in the fight, failed by 42-56 to cut back the Treasury Postal Service appropriation by roughly 3.3%. GOP votes split 24 for the move and a depressing 16 against it. A motion by Dole the next day to cut 3% from the Public Works AEC appropriation did little better. But the worst news of all is passage, after only 2 days of debate, of a campaign reform measure by the House. Blatantly unconstitutional, the bill calls for public financing for presidential contests with ridiculously low spending limits for congressional races and severely limits the size of contributions. Is this that check mark on the tax returns? I don't have an extra camel. Okay, never mind. People can't see the chat, so people in the future who are watching this, they're going to go, what the hell? Where did she get on about the camel about? Isn't it disturbing, though, Tilt? I love it. Again. It's like smilingly demonic. Oh. Again, you gotta just, the face. That is the stuff of nightmares. Oh, that baby really has to be on a t-shirt. He's gonna say me reading Andy Craig. I'm giving myself a cramp. Oh God. I entertain myself with shit like that. Okay. Also on the spending front, a number of senators have recently been attempting... No, we already talked about that. Whew, I'm still thinking about my little buddy. On public financing, however, the bill is better than the version passed several months ago by the Senate. That bill calls for public financing of congressional races too, a proposal that was rejected in the House by a decent margin. Only 51 members had the guts and principle to go on record as being against final passage of this pseudo reform measure. Our best hope is that the hardline proponents of full public financing in the Senate will not be willing to make concessions to the House in conference on questions like congressional financing. Unless one side compromises substantially, the campaign bill may still be killed. Write your congressman and urge him to hold firm against taxpayer-financed House and Senate elections. All right, we still got a lot to cover, and it's, what, the 22nd? So we're going to have a bunch of history shows because, man, this was a jam-packed LP News. But if I had kept spacing it out like I should have been rather than getting distracted with everything, whatever, I'm always like, hey, shiny object, we would have gotten through it. But all right, that's it for this evening. I'm still keeping these relatively short.
That's what she said.
I'm still keeping them relatively short, which is a good thing. And I'm trying to think if tomorrow if I'm going to be able to stream. If so, we just might bang out another Liberty show. I mean, they're all Liberty, aren't they? Another history show to get on track with this. But other than that, au revoir. I need to take off and do some more Liberty shit. So I will see you tomorrow, and thank you so much for coming by. And my little friend says goodbye too.
what you're given, that's how we live it. Don't be mad at the system, it's simply how we've existed. I hear a lot of people talking like they politicians and choose to be an accountant because it's safe in a business, not because they